Saloon car racer Sean Woodhouse has a new look this weekend. We're not talking about his car. He's gone pink on top in support of breast cancer awareness.
Young lass at my work got diagnosed with it and she's going through it at the moment. Last year, as a bit of support for her, I said, if you lose your hair, I'll shave it off. So it came off last year. And this year was a little bit different from that. And she said, was I going to keep it bald? And I said, no, because it's struggling to grow back. So I said, I'll go pink. Just to sort of stir it up a bit, I had a Team Woodhouse Racing Facebook page, and I said if it got to 300 plus likes, I'd do the hair and get it properly bleached and an electric pink in it instead of just a spray can. And sure enough, it stirred up a hornet's nest and it got 300 plus likes. So here we are today. I think, obviously, just to make everyone knows about it now. Unfortunately, it's a disease that it's prevalent in our society. We've all lost sisters and mothers and so forth, and it's a filthy disease. But we're here to sort of show that everyone, even motor racing, where you're meant to be a bit of a toughie, we're all on the girls' side. So hopefully next year I'll try and do it a bit earlier. This was very short notice in regards to it, and try and raise some money for next year so I can send a cheque on to breast cancer and help out. I haven't made every round, but the main idea is the car's been fairly strong and competitive for me. Last time we spoke, I was sort of saying if I could make top 10 and stay within there when I was out on the track, I'd be happy, and it seems to be going that way. Big field this weekend, a lot of fast guys here, old and new. So still the goals are the same, to try and see if I can top 10. Well, I've qualified 15th, so we'll see. And obviously I'd like to see if I come to the tracks to try and better my speed or times than last time. And if I can do that, stay happy and you keep on keeping on. It's like they say, anyone can go fast in a straight line, but it's the road craft or the racecraft and getting around those corners quick. And if you hold your own, and I think I feel a lot more confident in the car, even with my background and my work background. But yeah, it's been good. It's been an eye opener, and like most things in racing, there's good people in it, and I've met some great ones, and they help me out. It's been good. I'd actually like to see if I can raise enough sponsors to do a full season. I think at that stage, then you can gauge where you are. If not, just do the rounds I can do, and I'll see how many years I can go with. And I'd like to stay in it, but it's like most things, it costs a lot of money to do it, but it is enjoyable.
It's a great cause, Sean Woodhouse, in the quest to raise awareness for breast cancer, and he's doing a great job and actually going very well on track this weekend, as well as Grant Boyd joins me in the commentary box where it's dry. Plenty of rain overnight here at Phillip Island as we confirm points going into the penultimate round of the Dial Before You Dig Australian Saloon Car Championship.
Simon Tabernaul looking absolutely out in front with a mile of breathing space, but hey, Phillip Island, wet conditions, you never know what could happen. And the cars are coming down onto the grid to take their positions for this first race.
27 cars on it as well, and Gavin Ross starts from pole position. Edged out Travis Lindorff and Simon Tabernaul by 1/10 of a second, one solitary tenth in qualifying. It was a great couple of qualifying sessions in the dry on Saturday, and for the first time ever, the Saloon cars under the 1:50 barrier at this great racetrack. So we're underway in wet conditions, though it is drying here at the island, and no more rain forecast for today.
And that's perfect, isn't it, for these sorts of cars? Wet start to the race, it'll probably be a decent dry line. Down through turn one they come, just sort of feeling their way. You can see a few drivers very tentatively through turn one, and why wouldn't you be?
Travis Lindorff sweeps across into the lead.
Oh, we almost lost one.
Oh man, it's slippery on the outside there, and this brand new surface at Phillip Island at the start of the year means it's slippery. We've lost one and two. Off the road they go and into the fence.
And see, that's the problem. Once you get out on the grass, it's still very wet there. Look at this car, it's just spinning like a top.
Wow.
Oh, Yates, he has had a huge lose. But look, see, even now, it can't get any traction to get this car going. He's desperately trying to get out of the grass. You can see the medics are waiting to see if he's going to... No, it's all over. Bad luck, Steve. Not much you can do in conditions like this.
Oh, dear. And well and truly stuck in the mud.
He needs a forklift right now, doesn't he?
I cannot believe how many times that car spun, and he is getting out. So back to the front of the field. Lindorff has cleared out the champion safety car boards and flags in the background.
And fair call too. I mean, with these conditions, somebody gets a little tap through turn one and they could end up straight into the side of Steve's car. And that, obviously, besides the fact that it's extremely dangerous, it would be costly.
Yeah, very costly at this place. It's a racetrack that bites hard. Now, this is on board with Cameron Moss. The dial before you dig forward. Replay the start. Have a look to driver's left. That's Steve Yates. So he made an excellent start from 27th.
Gee, he got some traction, didn't he? He was off like a shot out of a gun, but this is where it all got ugly. Just a tag, and I don't think it was Steve's fault either. He just got caught up in a car that got a little bit loose on the exit of turn 1. Tags the wall, a little bit of rear damage, but the biggest problem was he just spun in all of that water in the greasy grass and just couldn't get the car moving forward.
Yeah, Wayne Patton, that was in the PJT Accountants VT Commodore involved, and have a look at there, contact from the outside. I don't think Yates was just in the wrong place there, wasn't he?
No, it looked like he had a big lean to the left on the steering wheel, and yeah, one of those situations, unfortunately. And he put hands straight up and says sorry, so he's taken the blame for it.
Big moment, and it kept spinning. So after a couple of laps under safety car, we'll go back to racing in the dial before you dig saloon cars. Here's Sean Woodhouse. As we said, he's gone pink this weekend, raising awareness for breast cancer research, and it's a great thing too. Well done, Sean. Qualified 15th, but he'll be looking to work his way forward in this field.
And don't forget, 1% of all breast cancers around the world are men. So men, follow the ladies' example and check yourself.
Down to turn 1 they go, and a big moment too for Campbell, I think it was. Just had a big slide through that very fast turn 1. Even in the rain, it's a quick corner. And Kane Baxter-Smith in the AU Ford has got a great view of how slippery this place is. Working his way forward in the bottom half of the top 5. Just up in front is Wayne King in the Morphett Vale Smash Repairs Commodore. Simon Tabernaur dropping position. So the championship leader, defending champ, has lost ground on this restart. Down the inside they look. Gavin Ross on the outside in that green VT.
This is busy, isn't it? Baxter-Smith sneaks up the inside of Ross, tries to keep going too, manages to find a little bit of traction somehow. That was being very opportunistic, I dare say. Sat there, knew exactly what was about to happen, lined himself up, now gives a big tag, and 3 goes as he tries to find his way past.
Yeah, Gary Hills, that is, in the Commodore. And he hip and shouldered himself past, didn't he? And gets a serve on the inside on the way back. Side by side in the rain to the hay shed. This is pretty wild stuff.
Oh, Hills almost lost it there, got into a 4-wheel drift, manages to gather it up, but he's on the wrong side, gets another tag.
Gone, feeds him off the road. Or does he? No, just loses some positions. That could have turned into a big crash, but this is wild stuff. Tabernaur in the thick of it. Campbell sweeping around the outside in the 57 car, the Queenslander.
What do you reckon Hills' blood pressure's like at the moment?
450 million, it's huge. And just gathered up a massive slide with Harley Phelan on the inside out of MG. Gee, that was frenetic stuff between, it's Commodore Cup, isn't it? Look at all the VT Holden's dicing it out amongst each other.
Another big sideways glance there from Hills. He is really pumped up underneath that helmet that he's got on at the moment. I dare say he's got fair claim, actually.
I think he'll be, banging on the rev limiter, and it won't just be the engine we're talking about doing that. So, yeah, he got involved in that fight. He got a hit coming out of Siberia, and 2Ks later, he ended up losing 5 positions. So that's just the nature of this place. I spoke to a couple of drivers early in the weekend, Boydo, and they said it's a bit like a super speedway now, like NASCAR at Daytona. If you lose one place, a whole heap of cars are going to funnel past as well. You lose momentum on what is an unbelievably fast surface now.
Well, you know, especially in these conditions too, because once you can see the dry line starting to appear, and once you're pushed out wide and you're in the wet stuff, obviously you're not going to have the traction or the braking available to you. Kane Baxter-Smith is really trying hard in this race. He's pushed his way forward using muscle. So far, so good. No Roth. Speaking of Roth of the stewards, Miller straight into the side of Sharp there, gave him a big hip and shoulder.
Yeah, Travis just got forced out wide, the West Aussie. Travels over to all these rounds from Perth. Kearns just gets up the inside too in the very well presented number 67 car. Gee, it's frenetic stuff, isn't it, in these conditions? This is wild. There's the champion Tabernaur. He's P4. King leads. Lindorf now up to 2nd place with Baxter-Smith 3rd. Then Tabernaur, then Ross, then Campbell.
And I know it's looking a little bit like a smash-up derby out there. It's not the case. These guys are just pushing so hard in these conditions. You just see the cars under acceleration. They're squirming around exactly like that. Campbell having another big moment. He had a moment a few laps ago in turn 1, and he does it coming down out of Lukey Heights. I mean, it's just so difficult out there for these drivers to get the maximum out of these cars.
And we're not talking about a massive amount of horsepower either, Boydo, but these 6-cylinder Holdens and Fords have got a huge amount of torque, so the torque's what generally creates the wheel spin as well as they get out of a corner, and that's why they're sliding around. And Taberner had a big lose through turn 12, but it hasn't hurt his run alongside Kane Baxter-Smith and clears him before they get to turn 1.
Yeah, you can slide a moped in the wet if you've got no grip out there, so these cars would be a handful. As Baxter-Smith has just found out in turn 1, look at that. That was brave, and that's a fast part of the circuit in the dry.
Yeah, good bit of car control too. So Taberner clears him. He moves up to 3rd. Baxter-Smith back to 4th. Gets a good run out of the southern loop though, and King continues to lead this race from Travis Lindoff, who's doing a good job up in 2nd.
Kane's a bit of a duck, isn't he? He enjoys these wet conditions. It's really coming to him. The car just sliding its way through the left hand there, and he's quite comfortable with it.
Now, to show you how wet the conditions are, as Taberner just fires one up the inside of 2nd place at Honda. They're lapping in almost exactly 2 minutes a lap. Qualifying was 1 minute 49, so they're 21 seconds a lap slower than how they qualified in the dry. So that's how wet and how slippery this place is.
Look, I know Kane's been a little bit aggressive out there on the track, and as I say, the stewards haven't got anything to say about it, so it's got to be a fair call. But under these conditions, he's making up a mile of ground, not just under acceleration, but brakes as well. And once again, four-wheel drifting through that right-hander. He absolutely loves it out there. Will he catch this guy?
No, well, Wayne King's doing an amazing job. Hasn't committed to the full championship this season. Has just picked and choose the rounds he wants to do. And every one of those he's done, he has been extremely successful at. And he's holding out Taberner at the moment, the 2 best guys in the series all year. Now dicing for the race lead. Gavin Ross a little bit further back, started this one from pole, but was involved in that massive fight in the opening couple of laps and lost some ground.
Taberner sliding the back of the car as he comes onto the straight to try and get as much momentum as he can, to try and get up behind King. He doesn't need to do that, does he? He's so far ahead in the series, just needs to bide his time at the moment. But he's a racer. He's
a racer, and all he'll want to do is win, there's no doubt. And this could be the final season in saloon cars for Taberner. Word on the street that maybe a Kumo V8 Touring Car Series start on the cards for season 2014 for the Eurostar Diesel driver.
Think he's ready to step up?
Well, we've seen a couple of guys step up from saloon cars. Sean Jamison is one. A bunch of guys have been successful in the Kumo V8s, having tasted success in saloon cars. It's been almost inadvertently a good development category. Geez, having a go. Final lap down the inside at Honda on the race leader. Will he get it done? You bet he will.
Got a beautiful run there out of the sweeper, and it was always going to be a big challenge, and in the end done it quite easily, you'd have to say. This has been the drive of the race so far. Baxter-Smith, I feel,
is the most entertaining drive of the race, absolutely.
He certainly has, and he's had plenty of car to deal with, but he's been equal to the task.
And that's what we said about entertaining. Great fun to watch, isn't it? Big Aussie 6-cylinder saloon sideways at the fastest racetrack in the land. I love it. It's great. So here's this battle for the lead. Simon Taberner, G, picks his time, doesn't he? It's great. Every time he finds himself in front, he does it so nicely and almost without drama. He gets himself to the front of the race and wins so often in this category. But a last dig, perhaps, from King in the final few corners, and Trav Lindoff there as well.
Taberner got a little bit loose. That's going to help King if he wants to have a charge down to the line, but I don't think he's close enough. I don't think he's going to be able to get the traction. And he needs to keep his eye on the rear vision mirror because the 51 car is coming at him hard.
Big moment for Taberner. He had a mistake. Drag race to the checkered flag. King, will he get there? He does. He beats him.
Less than a car length between the top 3. How good was that?
Unbelievable finish, and Wayne King wins it by 0.01 of a second. What a finish at Phillip Island.
I can't believe that. After this many laps in these conditions, King, Taberner and Lindoff absolutely side by side. Baxter Smith in 4th, and Harley Phelan rounds out the top 5.
The boys, they're right on it, and they're local talent. It's the first time I've ever been here. I've ever seen the place. To be in the top 5 all weekend and to take that one out was just tremendous. Simon and I were like dead head-to-head pretty much. I think I've only just got him by 1/10 or something like that, 100th or something. Well, I don't know, but it was great.
Yeah, I got a pretty good start, which I was pretty happy with, and come into turn 1. A little bit of a gap opened up with Wayne on the left, and I'm not too sure who was on the right, so I've gone, here we go, I'm going to poke my nose in here, and it all closed up, and yeah, we ended up in a bit of mud and climbing tyre walls and all sorts of stuff, but the car's not too bad. It's been stuck together, a little bit of race tape. Pretty good stuff, that, you know, and we'll get out there for the next race and hopefully not take some paint off and actually get a position.
Well, by the time race 2 came around, the sun had started to poke through at Phillip Island, Grant Boyd, and we take a look at highlights from races 2 and 3 at Phillip Island.
It's a lot easier said than done, isn't it, going out there and not scratching your car. But yeah, beautiful conditions, unlike race 1, and it was a nice clean start. Harley Phelan, I'm a bit surprised by his results this week, and I expected him to be stronger here at Phillip Island.
It's a good start from Matt Campbell. He made some ground early as Wayne King and Kane Baxter Smith, Mr. Action Man. Excitement for this weekend. Had a nice big lose on the exit of MG.
He's involved in everything, isn't he?
It was exciting stuff, wasn't it? Millia, meanwhile, and Harley Phelan at Honda. Millia forced out wide, and that would be a sign of things to come for race 3 later in the weekend for the 39 car.
Relatively clean that time, but it wouldn't be the state of play a little bit later on, but we'll get to that in a moment. King, strong as ever in these dry conditions here this weekend, and Baxter Smith up the inside at a very precarious part of the circuit on Ross. Doesn't get the overtaking manoeuvre done, but he's involved in everything. Ross dives down the inside of King down in Honda and picks up the spot.
And in the background, the screech of tyres was Mr. Excitement this weekend. Baxter Smith just running a little bit wide at turn 4 hairpin, and G. Kane certainly had his weak big. Simon Tabanor, meanwhile, held out Travis Lindorf and got the race victory. Another close one at Phillip Island, and then the field gridded up for race 3 later on in the day.
Yeah, they all got away to a nice clean start for this final race of this round here at Phillip Island. Once again, no major issues getting off the line, and they got through turn 1 and 2 okay. Relatively, Hills had a moment. He got out on the outside of the track, ended up in the kitty litter, but to his credit, just kept his foot firmly planted on the gas.
He carried on, didn't he, and drove out the other side. Tabanor led the field, but there were dramas. Sean Woodhouse, we heard from him earlier in the show, dropped it at MG and ended up about 50 k's away from the racetrack. It's so wet here at the island.
This is where things got very, very interesting indeed. Honda's one of those corners that seems to bring everybody out. Millia turned around, and all of a sudden the rest of the field, bang, 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 bang. Left, right, centre, any way they could go. The dial before you did car ploughing into the tyre wall. It was absolute carnage.
Yeah, and everyone walked away, but this was a big, big crash. So Millia just taking evasive action with Travis Sharp having a moment in front of him. And unfortunately, Gavin Ross had nowhere to go. Harley Phelan save of the day, scraping the purple Commodore out of that somehow, but there were cars going left, right and centre. And poor old Millia, he spun there in race 2. He did it in race 3, but this time he wouldn't drive away. That brought out the red flag. The damage too severe, too many cars stranded to classify that race after just 2 laps. It was called a day. So that meant the podium presentation was next, and Simon Tabanor collected the silverware for a great weekend at the island.
We took it out in race 2, and the way to do it is win it, and we won it. So that was quite nice, you know what I mean? It was a shame to finish that last race under red flag conditions, but the car was still at the front.
And Simon Tabanor wouldn't be too disappointed. He extends his series lead over Harley Phelan, Travis Sharp, and we've got Lindsay Kearns and Wayne King rounding out the 5.